Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here basically we are discussing about one topic, that is the city creation, that is connected with the global warming era. This is the 12th number solution. In this basically we are discussing that basically the 20 percentage error basically might be possible with 20 percentage education basically error is there, that is 98 percentage correct basically. So somebody is trying to solve basically, if he is not able to solve, then basically he might take this type of decision basically, that basically we have already discussed, but that he will never do. Reason, it's very difficult to control the things basically, very difficult to control the universe speed, universe planet speed, because to control the earth planet speed basically you have to do lots of setting basically. So that basically mostly 98 percentage he will never do. He will might basically uh, take some certain decisions basically, but he will not do this type of activities basically, that is the disappearing the land basically, that's very big decision basically, that only universe group can do basically. But that also they will not finish the land basically, but the objects basically within the land basically, that will get disappear within the second basically, because whenever the planet might be moving, then basically that land entire object basically will disappear just within the second basically, that basically might possible basically. But in that also basically satellite might be there basically to control, but how, up to what level the satellite will control basically, that this is basically totally different land basically. So one of the person told that basically when the planet was started basically, that time basically how the scene was basically. One question basically, after this, and after this debate basically one of the person asked how basically the scene was basically, what was the length of the earth planet, what was the width of the earth planet, how basically was planet basically was setting, each and everything basically he asked basically. So that was basically dangerous question basically by the one of the person basically. It might possible that basically if you basically separate the land basically, that might possible be, but that basically it's very difficult basically, that basically that type of step basically nobody takes basically, because it's very risky na basically, because you can't disappear the land basically, that's a universal law basically, that's the universal law. So that basically is very difficult, the people can do basically, that is not possible actually. So like this one of the person told that basically the land basically gets, there are basically 11 types of so there are basically 11 parts of land, that is 100% sure. So these parts basically are divided whenever the big task basically happens, that time basically he literally divides the land, and then only basically starts the work basically. So that's very dangerous, that means the creator also know that basically anything basically can happen anytime. That's why he is doing the parts na basically, otherwise there is no reason of doing the parts basically, there is no reason basically by doing the parts, there is no literal reason only basically. There is no reason basically behind the doing the task, there is no reason basically literally doing the parts. So like this basically the parts basically are done basically. Like this basically, this type of thing basically also happens basically. So one of the person told that basically when this type of thing basically will happen basically, when basically suddenly will land will get disappear, then one of the person told that mostly basically this will, for example one of the person told that, do you know basically in Turkey basically big earthquake basically has happened. Yes, basically that basically I know. So it might possible that basically somebody might have tried to break the land basically, or basically the land basically might be broken, and basically that time basically suddenly he basically broken the land basically due to some reason. There might be some reason basically, that might basically the earthquake basically might have happened basically. That means the big level earthquake basically happens then only basically, when basically the land basically gets broken into the parts basically. It might be possible basically. That is the possibility. And another possibility is the land basically power supply basically, whenever the power supply gets, that time basically the land gets broke, land gets basically broke into the, goes into the broken mode basically. That is a break mode basically. So that possibilities are also basically there, but mostly basically this type of thing basically never happens, because land basically gets broke, land basically gets break when the land basically is empty. That time only basically land gets break basically. Without that basically it's very difficult basically to break the land. So separate basically energy basically are done like this only basically. So that might be possible, and but 100% basically I am also not sure basically. Like this also basically possible. One of the person told that uh, uh, suddenly basically land gets disappear, that type of thing activity basically has never happened, right, basically. Then into that, yes, basically. So one of the person told that suddenly assume that basically entire Asia country basically, Asian land basically get disappeared, this type of thing possible basically. Then he told that basically that is not possible here basically, because any of the land will get disappear, their dependencies there, their dependencies basically are there. So mostly basically this type of thing basically mostly never happens. But the possibility of that 100 planes basically are there, that is 100%. 98% might be correct also. 98% basically might be correct also. So one of the person told that, then how basically the banks basically might be handling. Then that means banks basically literally do the dadagiri na basically. Banks, finance firms basically they literally do the dadagiris. The things basically which you have not done, that also they will prove that basically you have done that basically. That type of things basically also basically banks do basically. But that basically, if government approves, then only they basically do. If basically the government, police basically do this type of activities, involved in this activity, then only basically this is possible. One of the person told that this is the entire system na basically. If you are not getting the 200 people basically are suffered from the system only basically. So what you can do basically, tell. The 200 people basically generated, due to this 200 people basically the disease has got generated, right, basically. Then he told that yes basically disease has got generated. So they basically know the entire system basically, the entire police, entire Supreme Court, entire High Courts, entire Lok Sabha, Parliament, banks, everybody are one basically. Each and every system basically are one. So the normal person basically who are 200 people basically, they literally generated the universe basically connected, and the universe only basically generated one disease basically. In this basically 50 crore people basically died. Here basically 200 basically assume that that was basically India country. Due to Indian system basically this has happened basically. So due to India system basically this has happened basically. That basically was there. Here basically assume that basically 200 people are basically there. So this can be any country basically, any country system basically. But here the problem basically has occurred basically. So for that basically solution basically was supposed to find basically, but that was not found. TCS basically tried, but it was not happened basically. In next video.